keys to the conduct of the 2023 general election. So get your PVCs in readiness to vote in the election. Today on the program, federal government assures Nigerians that 2023 general election will not be cancelled or postponed. I'll be hanging out with Emeka Madunago and Olabisi Deji Folutile, PhD. So if you're ready, let the hangout start now. Thank you for staying with us. Let's begin with the mass exodus of personnel in our health sector. The management of the Lagos State University Teaching Hospital, LASUT, has revealed that the hospital has lost about 150 nurses to the Jackpot syndrome in the last 3 years. At a media party in Lagos, the chief medical director of the hospital, Professor Adetokunbo Fabanwo, said the hospital's exit replacement policy ensures that it is not
without some setbacks, which are on the front burner. The drive is to replace nurses who have relocated.
We've lost more than 150 nurses to Japan, and they are still migrating.
The exit replacement policy of the government, which is we are the only state which does that, has ensured that that phenomenon has not really affected us too negatively.
The CMD adds his voice on the emergence of new COVID-19 variants by warning that proper scrutiny of travelers from China should be carried out.
We must now clamp the gates at the airports, at the seaports against Chinese. The burden of that variant is quite huge in China.
He updates the media that LASUT now has a new 120-bed space building, a renal dialysis center, machines that assist brain surgeries, and equipment that can destroy kidney stones, amongst others.
We are able to go into the blood vessels of the kidney to carry out procedures, blood vessels of the uterus. We're able because we have the personnel and the expertise.
So many areas of health care were mentioned by the chief medical director of LASUT. But one thing he says is key. Lagosians must get registered with the health insurance scheme to ensure they enjoy good health services without financial pressure. Jacqueline Ogo, TVC News, Lagos.
The high point of that story is 150 people recorded that left the system as at last year. And if you want to take record in the last 3 years, I'm sure it's going to be something to, scream about. But that's just the nurses, not talking about medical doctors and everything. So what do you make of this?
Well, I think it's not peculiar to Lagos University Teaching Hospital. It's something that is happening across the country. It's nationwide. And if you will recall, the MMA had come out to also tell us about this problem and the fact that a lot of Nigerian doctors are relocating abroad. I don't have the figure now, so I don't want to just quote any figure. But I also know that we have reported in the past that thousands of doctors, and I'm talking of doctors, have migrated to UK alone, the UK alone, not talking about other Western countries. Personally, I had an experience. I visited the Child Mental Health Center in Oshodi. We do go there for outreaches and to reach out to those people there. By the way, that mental center caters for children with mental cases. A lot of people don't even know that there are children having mental issues. And there, from my interaction, I also realized that a child as younger, their youngest patients at that time was like less than 9 years old. They had 3-4-year-old patients and all of that. And all these issues that deal with palsy and all of that. Okay. They take care of them. Now, in that hospital, most of the doctors and the nurses had jackpot. As a matter of fact, as I was discussing with them, the person that I was talking to was about to jackpot. So after my discussion, she just smiled. We went back late December. Of course, that person had also jackpot. And the clinic for children in that hospital is also affiliated to Yaba Psychiatric Hospital. That clinic is shut as I talk to you. Wow. Where the young children that could be admitted is not functional. And partly
because they've lost staff personnel. And that center in Nigeria, I don't think we have more than 2 of that centers in Nigeria. It is supposed to be in each geopolitical zone of the country. I just brought that in to let you know that even when we talk about nurses and all the rest, a lot of us, we are just looking at the general hospital, the teaching hospitals. We are looking at general medical personnel. We are not even going down to look at some of the other critical areas that are being affected. So for 150 people to leave a system within 3 years, I don't see any program that you can put in place that can actually function effectively. I was also in loss, and that is sad because I actually lost a friend. Wow. Yeah, and before we took her to that hospital, she told us that please don't take me to loot. If you take me to loot, please. In fact, she was pleading, and I still remember that now, that we could just take her to a private hospital, that if we spend the money there, they could just discharge her. She is ready to go and die in the village. That was her plea. But of course, the cost of that private hospital was just too expensive. So we ended up taking her to Luz. And I was there myself. Only 2 nurses were available in the all-female ward in that Luz as of that time. And it is November last year. All of them have gone. So we have a problem at hand. It's a serious issue that we are contending with. The nurses are going, the doctors are going, everybody is going. The other time, the MMA was telling us that the experienced hands have gone, and the younger ones are going. The experienced hands don't have the people to hand over to. And these experienced hands are getting older, and there is a problem of gap. Who do you train to replace the experienced doctors? Because the younger ones are just not, they can't take what the older doctors and all these nurses have taken. So it's an emergency, and I just need to present it like that. We have a problem at hand. How do we, forestall this exit migration? Because it seems to be in all sectors.
Yeah. Well, fortunately, the horse has escaped from the stable. So it is either you go and catch the horse and bring it back, or you look for a new horse, go and buy a new horse, to put in the stable. We had known for years, for decades, that we had a problem on our hands. Thrown back to 1986, the exodus of medical personnel in 1986 from Nigeria was, ask anybody who knew about the exodus in 1986, 87, it was something else. Now that is what is going on. So the way out of it is not what I read, was it today, that government was thinking of bringing in foreign doctors and nurses. How can you bring in people, foreign doctors, to your country when your country to replace your citizens who are moving to other countries? That's an embarrassment. That's ridiculous. You know what the issues are, and they are mainly issues of bread and butter, issues of lack of facilities, issues of lack of equipment, and poor refusal of government to adhere to agreements with the various labor unions in the health sector. the National Association of Resident Doctors has issued a fresh notice that it will go on strike because government has refused to implement its demands. So when we put all these things together, and then comments by certain government officials like the Minister of Labour and Employment, Dr. Chris Ngige, also show that, well, they don't care. Even if there is no doctor in any public hospital in Nigeria, well, the federal government doesn't care, and which is very unfortunate. So this attitude has to change because these people are being trained at great expense. Medical personnel are being trained at great expense to the country.
And it's subsidized.
But now, after training them, you allow them to leave. You just, because you cannot handle issues around demands, demands about their welfare. You can't do those issues, one. And then two, a lot of countries around the world are actually in need of medical personnel, even teachers. That's another area that Nigeria is going to suffer a huge drain because I understand even from some countries like UK, US, teachers are migrating to some other parts of the world. So now the UK is asking Nigerian teachers to come over. By the time other countries start dangling offers before Nigerian teachers, who is going to be teaching our children? So we have a national emergency across all sectors. Government must sit down and think out solutions. And one of the solutions is treat people well. Treat people in public service well. Because you look at the number of people who love to move from the public service to the private sector. Now it's not just the private sector, they are moving abroad. Sit down, look at your labor, the problems around pay, allowances, equipment, facilities, and all of this, and take necessary actions about these things. Otherwise, the show will go on.
All right, moving on now. Despite intensive bombardment by the military, bandits in Kaduna State are holding on to their dastardly acts. Some bandits have killed 7 personnel of the Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps, NSCDC, and 6 vigilantes along the Kaduna-Binigwari Highway in Chikun local government area of the state. The tragedy occurred when the NSCDC personnel and 6 vigilantes went to a local mining site in the area. That's Binigwari area, still very volatile. Very volatile.
And it's just unfortunate, and unfortunately too, is the fact that reading this report, even the NSCDC, after all they have said was that we should pray to God for protection for our security personnel and other people. So you see, this thing you just I don't know how to put it. It's like bandits taking over and overpowering our security apparatus. Yes, I know.
Are these guys equipped to face these bandits?
They are not. They may not. But then, in that report also, the bandits stole their rifles. Even the little equipment they had were also stolen by the bandits. So, which means that they did not only overpower them to be able to kill and steal, they still took even what was available. As as little as that power could be, they still took it along with themselves. They don't only kill civilians. When you have bandits that don't only kill civilians, they are even killing your security operatives, and they are just getting away with it. That is the problem. I know there is a war, but how many of these people are we catching? They kill, they seem to escape. I did mean that they killed 7, and in retaliation, we were able to finish like 100 or 200 of them. We know that, okay, the deaths of these ones that were killed, their blood that was shed was not in vain. But when you have your security operatives keep dying, in the hands of bandits and all of that, and we even get to a point that we now say, let us be praying to God to protect us. Yes, we need prayers and all of that, but that is not the response that is going to help us. Let us do what we are supposed to do and find a way of just overcoming this problem. The bandits, are they now more powerful than government, or are they in totality more powerful than all our security power and all of that? Those are the critical questions that we'll be asking ourselves when we hear stories like this going on. And because there is no point, we can't say that this is the end of it. We don't know what we will hear tomorrow. We only pray that we don't hear evil.
Now, this Buhari area is not new that they've been, holding people into ransom in that area. It's like a no-go area, and they have military formation all around Kaduna State. Why is it difficult to dislodge these people?
That's a big question. It's like the Nigerian security operatives are largely well trained, I think, to a large extent. But I think operational procedures and strategies have really fallen short of required global best practices. And as such, we've moved now from Boko Haram to ISWAP. Then a breakaway faction from Boko Haram, Ansaru, has found its way to the north central and part of the northwest and entrenched itself so well. Then again, you have to look at the connection, between mining and banditry in the north. These people are just out to exploit, our natural resources because they get money from illegal mining, with which they buy weapons and take care of themselves. Then through kidnapping and other criminal activities. So definitely, I think we may need to boost our numbers in terms of security personnel. Then in terms of strategies, much more effort needs to be put in because Beningwari has remained a sore point. Beningwari, the killing of villagers, killing of people, is such a painful spectacle. I don't understand why it is so difficult, really. Certain things are really going on behind the scenes that that make people wonder what is really going on. Because we hear the military say they have neutralized so many of these people. But within those same areas, give it a few days, those people rebound and continue to cause havoc. So what is actually going on? Security agencies, yes, I give kudos to them for the efforts they've been making, for the results they have attained, but a lot still needs to be done. And going into the elections, we need for them to hit harder at these characters.
So ultimately, when you look at the recruitment process, the way we keep killing these guys and they keep recruiting more people and they keep enticing them with money.
I think we need to. I keep talking about the foundational problem. You see, if you are breeding demons and you do not stop the breeding process, it will continue. Even no matter how much you want to fight it, you keep on fighting, you keep on killing, and that is the point Emeka is raising, that the military will have done some onslaught against them, and they will report to us that so number of these bandits, insurgents, whatever we want to call them, are killed, and truly they are being killed. Right? But if the rate at which you kill is lower than the rate at which they are being bred, you see that there is a lot of problem, because you keep on killing as they occur, but the problem, the foundational problem is there. I think beyond military interventions. It is high time Nigeria started to look into the socio-economic solutions to the problem of insurgency in the north. And I think we should go beyond just the military intervention. So when we look at the socio-economic solutions, we will be able to actually curb the problem at the foundation. We will not just be, because the way we are going, we will just be killing ourselves, because whether bandits are also Nigerians. When you kill them, you are killing Nigerians. When bandits kill Nigerians, they are killing Nigerians. When they kill the security operatives, they are killing. So Nigerians are just killing themselves. So why do we have this problem? What can we do to stop this problem? What are the foundational issues? Those are the things we need to talk about. And I think that very central to this is the issue of education. A lot of these people, I remember the governor of Katsina at a time telling us that these young people live in the forest and they don't know any other thing than to kill and to procreate, and that you know, the evil that are locked in the forest are coming now to attack the people that are living in towns and in the cities. So what are we doing to ensure that more people are in school? That's very important, because if you kill their fathers, their children are taking over, and these are people that give birth at without any form of birth control and all of that. So how do we increase education in that part of the country? We know now that more than 15 million Nigerian children are out of school, and majority of these children are
in the IDPs.
Yes, they are in the north. So what do we do? Then the economic issues. How do we ensure that we create jobs? How do we ensure that the people that are adults, they are they have jobs and they are engaged in activities that are legal? Because when there is no employment, you will continue to see criminality and all of that. So I think we should just look at this problem holistically and come up with solutions beyond the military
option. Do you agree with her?
Yes, of course, yes. When you have so many, we have over 11 million children out of school, then people, there's no birth control policy, then the borders are porous. So people can just move in and out of the country without being checked, without being profiled. And then you have some weak states around Nigeria, weak nations around Nigeria that are engulfed in crisis. So you now have itinerant fighters who just move from place to place. So it must be broad-based. Whatever solutions must be broad-based.
Okay, we'll take this break now. When we come back, we'll talk more. It's still Journalist Hangout. We'll be right back after this breather. Please stay with us.
My brother, my sister, do you know that winning an election is not only about getting the majority vote? For that your candidate to be declared winner of the election, he or she must secure 25% of the vote in 2/3 of all states plus the FCT to be president, and 25% of the vote in 2/3 of all local governments of a state to be governor. This is constitutional, and every presidential candidate has had to pass this threshold. Even governors have had to make this mark to get elected in their states. We live in one country with different languages, religions, and ethnic groups. This is why it is not enough to have only northern votes, or southern votes, or eastern votes, or western votes. The only way to get elected as president or governor is by gaining enough support across the country and states. Let us make sure that we know now, so that we don't cause an issue tomorrow. This message is brought to you by the Center for Democracy and Development, CDD, with support from the Foreign, Commonwealth and Development Office, FCDO.
This administration will bequeath to Nigerians 4,000 megawatt of additional generating capacity. We will complete and commission the 700 megawatt Zungero hydropower plant in the first quarter of 2023. We will also see to the operationalization of the 250 megawatt Afam 3 and 300 megawatt Opai Phase 2, to mention a few. We will set the country on a stable path for 10,000 megawatt of supply energy. Today, we are at 8,000 megawatts with 5,000 on-grid and 3,000 of industrial captive off-grid.
This message is brought to you from the Federal Ministry of Information and Culture.
It's a new dawn for Nigeria. Oh, better days are coming. Better days that gives us hope and strength.
It's a new dawn in Nigeria. The firmament portents a bright future as the people of Nigeria move to vote a man whom they have come to trust. That man is Asiwaju Bola Tinubu. Vote Bola Tinubu as president of Nigeria. Vote Kashim Shettima as vice president. Vote APC.
Bring the smiles back to all Nigerians.
Never miss a moment. Instant breaking news from all over the globe. Live streaming of your favorite programs delivered directly to you. Watch anytime from anywhere on your mobile or smart devices. Download the TVC News app today. Available on Google Play and Apple Store.
It's not your regular show. It's an online interactive session where we share my views on the everyday issues that cut across politics, security, health, current affairs, governance, and so much more. I am passionate about our country. I choose to support any conversation geared towards building a better Nigeria. I am Babajide Kolade Otitoju. Join me every Saturday on TVC News YouTube channel as I discuss Nigeria and the world at large on the show, Issues with Jide.
The National Assembly is a busy place. As the bastion of democracy, it is a place where bills are presented, motions debated, laws made, and the yearnings of the people are laid bare. Come with us as we take you through the workings of the National Assembly. We take you through plenary, committee meetings, and probes, all to ensure smooth working of the democratic process.
Thank you for staying with us. Amidst public outcry over scarcity of new Naira notes, the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, is forging ahead with its Naira redesign and cashless policies. The CBN has warned that it will penalize banks that fail to comply with its directive to dispense the newly redesigned 200, 500, and 1,000 Naira notes through their automated teller machines, ATMs. The CBN Director of Currency and Operation, Ahmed Umar, who gave the warning in Abuja, explained that the purpose of the directive is to implement the January 31st deadline for the withdrawal of old Naira notes from circulation. It seems that there's no going back.
Let me ask you, have you seen the new Naira notes?
I've seen 1,000 Naira. I just saw 1,000 Naira, and it was on this show. Okay. On Sunday, Adekunle Yusuf brought 1,000 Naira, okay. And somebody brought, CK brought the 1,000 Naira.
Okay, because I've not seen it. That's what I'm asking. And if I've not seen it, I'm just wondering how many Nigerians. I've not seen any of the denomination. Either 1,500.
And you've been spending money.
On yes.
You've been withdrawing
money.
And
I went to bank yesterday. What I saw was old. I saw the tellers dispensing old notes and all of that, and the ATM still dispense old notes. So now, even despite this, because he gave this instruction, I think on Monday, January 9. Today is 11. ATM still dispense old notes as we speak. So I don't know how strong this instruction is. I don't also know whether it is just a mere talk of the mouth. And I also don't know how that January 31 deadline, how we are going to meet it at the rate at which we are going. Yeah, CBN also said that it's instructed banks that they should only dispense the new notes through ATM. But you now ask yourself that if you actually have enough of these notes, why should I you tell people to bring their old notes to the bank, and people go to bank to withdraw and they still collect the old notes back.
I don't understand.
So it's just, and you still at the same time you say that you have enough notes to go around, that 31 January is sacrosanct. How do we match all of this together? Because it's like the policy statement is one thing, but in reality what we are
is the new 500 notes now.
Okay, it's green,
yes.
I do not know. I just know that I've not seen it. That's just the truth.
And this is the 1,000.
The 1,000. Okay.
Yes, the color just changed.
Well, I see. Well, I've not touched it. I've not handled it. I have not seen it physically. This one looks like but it's not dollar. No, it's Naira. So really, I don't know how that January 31. But CBN has said that it will meet up with the deadline. Fine. The most important thing is for us is that they should make the money available so that we can find something to spend, because it won't be our fault now if you starve the banks or Nigerians of these new notes and we end up having old notes in our hands that we cannot take to, that we can no longer spend beyond January 31. Because if we still have old notes so much in circulation now, and we are saying that this thing is going to end by January 31, the implication is that a lot of people may end up having the old notes with them by the time that January 31 deadline comes up, and they become useless. I hope that is not what the CBN is indirectly targeting, and so that maybe some people will lose their old money, because I don't really know. Ordinarily, we should be having this money in circulation more than what we are saying now.
If from what we're saying, as in from all indication, I think the CBN, they're just following that date for the sake of it. I think you two knew that this January 31st, which is not visible.
Well, it's unfortunate that we fail, policymakers, government officials fail to learn from history. We had the same hiccups in 1984 when the military administration of General Muhammadu Buhari changed the Naira. As a matter of fact, one man, a civil servant, was said to have committed suicide because he couldn't retrieve his money. And the CBN should have made ample use of hindsight to ensure that such a thing will not happen. But we are heading towards that likely scenario that people won't have that money, won't have access to the new notes, unless maybe the CBN will bow to pressure from the National Assembly to extend it. But the other question is, where is the CBN governor, Mr. Godwin Emefiele? What we are seeing is that maybe certain key decisions concerning that Naira, that the circulation of Naira note, are waiting for him. So maybe the deputies can't really step in.
No, the person that actually signed this was the CBN Director of Currency Operations, Ahmed Umar.
Yes,
but was in charge of.
Yes, but to what extent does he have powers to get the banks to dispense the money the way CBN has said so? It's maybe that power lies with the CBN governor to crack the whip. His own may just be to outline the policy directives of the CBN. Then it's the governor that can take action. And of course, the governor ought to have resumed since Monday, but today is Wednesday. Nobody has heard news about whether he is back in the country or has resumed. So I think these things need to be smoothened out. Even if he's not in the country, maybe one of the deputy governors should step in and take decisive action, because it shouldn't lead to a situation where people go to the banks and start fighting for the notes. As a matter of fact, some of the instances where I came across the notes, the new notes, people were not even willing to hand them over
as a one. And
I mean, it came
not even willing to accept it as a legal tender.
A case of a bus conductor.
Yes.
He had new Naira notes. He kept it to one corner and was bringing out the old ones. And I said, I was wondering, are you going to keep this thing as what is going on? I mean, you're supposed to dispense it. So if someone like a bus conductor is not willing to give out the new notes,
he doesn't know when he will get another one.
So so people are just willing to give out the old notes, and then you say Nigerians should deposit their old notes. So when they deposit their old notes, how will people be able to move around? People will be able to commute, pay for services, pay for goods. I don't understand. And added to it is also the cash withdrawal limits.
Michael is calling us from Lagos Island. Thank you, Michael. Thank you for joining us.
Hello?
Yes, go ahead, Michael.
Yeah, good evening, sir.
Good evening.
I'm a first-time caller.
Oh, thank you for hanging out with us today.
Program, each time I listen to your program. One thing, what I want to say is that I want to talk about two things. This cash withdrawal limit actually put in place by CBN. The truth is that I don't know, honestly, there is confusion in this whole thing. Because the deadline is we're almost at the deadline. And up to now, just as you guys were saying, at the ATM, you can't even get new Naira notes. So I don't know if the CBN said they are going to sanction any bank that refuse to load you. What will they do that? It's just to say it, and at the end of the day, nothing will happen. So it's quite unfortunate that it's only God that will help us in this whole thing. And I want to believe that somehow, Nigerian way will come to play. You know. But apart from that, please let me.
Thank you, Michael. So if we don't have this in circulation, and the fastest way to get the old notes off, the system is getting new notes from the ATM machines, and you don't even have to enter the banking hall. And we're told that 1,000 Naira will no longer be dispensed, in the ATM. I think we just have 200 Naira and 500 Naira as the highest denomination. Would that in any way add value to?
It doesn't even matter what you even dispense. So far, it is the value of money. If it is 500 they have and 200, let them dispense. The most important thing is for the old notes to be out of circulation. And I don't also know why we have to give a deadline of just less than 3 months to withdraw old notes from circulation. That is not the world best practice. As a matter of fact, there was a time that I traveled to the US and I had $1 bill, $100 bill, and another person gave me another $100 bill. I compared the two. They were different. My own that I had, I got it from Nigeria. The other one, they gave it to me there. So I had already put my hands on my head. This one is fake. It's heavy. So I was afraid. I thought I had a fake $100. Only for I now showed them. I said, please, so this is different. They just smiled and told me that both are genuine. So, which means that these people, they change their money, but they run pari passu.
Yes, like CBN suggested, the Queen of England is faced on the pound is going to change, and it will take 4 years to put the transition period.
Exactly.
That is not.
It's not just
a deadline thing. That's
it's not like that.
3 months.
Honestly, another time I went to the UK, I had pounds with me. I just wanted to buy something from the store, and only for me to go there, they just look at me and tell me that, this is old notes. I didn't know. I told them I live in Nigeria. But you know what? Right there at Heathrow, there was a desk that I could go to that changed that money. They took the money from me and gave me new notes. Because they know that there are international travelers who don't live in their country. They change the notes for me. That is the way things work. I don't know why we don't want to copy what is working. And at another time now, if something is bad is happening, we will say that Nigeria is not the only one experiencing bad things. That globally bad things are happening. But when it is good, we don't want to say that Nigeria is the only one doing what is bad. I think we need to change this mentality.
And finally, the political atmosphere in Nigeria became more charged when official of the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, said the 2023 general elections face the threat of cancellation and postponement due to insecurity in some parts of the country. But the federal government has assured Nigerians that the elections will hold as scheduled. The Minister of Information and Culture, Lai Mohammed, who gave the assurance in Abuja, said adequate security will be provided to ensure smooth conduct of the polls the next 44 days. Emeka?
Well, we need to hear that from the National Security Advisor, the Minister of Defense, and the Chief of Defense Staff, because...
No, the Minister of Information is speaking on behalf of the federal government.
He's speaking on, but this is not the first time. The Minister of Information will speak on behalf of the federal government, and something else will play out. So, on the issue of security, we need to hear very well from the horse's mouth. That is the real quarters, the quarters where security management is done. No, it's not as if
on behalf of the federal
I
government.
agree. I'm not trying to downplay his position. But what I'm talking about is that this official of INEC,
you want to see general
on behalf of
General coming to
well, yes, so that we can hold him to account. Because if there's any breach, is Alhaji Lai Mohammed, is he a general? Is he the chief of defense staff? Is he the Minister of Defense? Is he National Security Advisor? Yes, speaking on behalf of the federal government, but we have had instances where we were told that this and this and this, and at the end of the day, we saw something else. Now, the person who spoke, one of the things that even made me skeptical was that the person who spoke was said to have represented the chairman of INEC at a function. Yes. But the minister was saying an official of INEC. I mean, how? The man didn't speak of himself. He was representing the chairman of INEC. So what it meant was that he was speaking for the chairman of INEC.
But the INEC chairman has
fine. Well, they keep dancing here. In November, we heard something like maybe the security threats. By December 17, it was a different tune that the election will not be postponed. Now again, this is January, a different tune. Within 24 hours, a different tune. I think right now, a lot of many voters, millions of Nigerians have not even got their PVCs. And that is a major threat in elections. If you disenfranchise Nigerians by not giving them their PVCs, with all that has been said, the shenanigans allegedly being engaged in by INEC officials is even a major threat to the holding of the election.
We can hold your breath there. Let's quickly take this final break. When we come back, we'll talk more. It's still Journalist Hangout. We'll be right back.
Country one better, Nigeria one better. Who go do one for us? Yeah, so people of Nigeria, they jolly for the better when one shell for we country. So as they ready to put Asiwaju Bola Tinubu as the next president of Nigeria, I him get the experience where he go fit use take make our country better. People of Nigeria, but this and many other better things when in don't vocalize. It good make we all vote Asiwaju Bola Tinubu for president of Nigeria. Kashim Shettima as vice president. Vote APC. You will need
Other important achievements in the health sector include the use of local herbs, plants, and traditional medical technology in production of drugs and treatment of terminal illnesses and diseases. Like, I'm sure you know, one of the commonest drugs, that was discovered locally is for the treatment of sickle cell anemia. And Nigeria has probably the largest percentage. Then, of course, the development of anti-lipemic. When you say anti-lipemic, something that could reduce the fat in the body, and that's coming from Firu.
This message is brought to you from the Federal Ministry of Information and Culture.
It's a final leg of your news and current affairs program, Journalist Hangout. And we are looking at that. It's a normal thing that we see every 4 years. You know, where insecurity is always adduced to the reason why election might not hold and everything. But when you see the spate of banditry, there's some local government they are not accessible. INEC officials might not be able to get there, and some conduct the election from the IDB camp and everything. But the present situation compared to 2015, if you do a kind of comparative analysis on the security situation then and now?
Yeah, I think Nigeria has always had security challenges. And the good news is that these challenges have not in the past hindered elections from holding eventually. Yeah, this time around, I think the only difference I see is the rate at which INEC facilities are being attacked. As of December 2022, we had 7 attacks in 5 states within 4 weeks, which is quite huge. There was an attack in Osun, Ogun, Imo, and another 2 states. So you just look at it. If an INEC official, in quotes, is talking about insecurity, I guess they are also looking at things from the perspective of their facilities as well as members of staff. And we have also
happened in Ogun State. Yes. They lost like close to 60,000 beavers machines.
Now, their personnel are even killed in certain instances. So when they look at things like that, or what happens, for example, if maybe when materials have been deposited in some places, key materials, and like machines, for example, and there is an attack, maybe 2 days before election, and that happens in many places at the same time. That's a major problem. So when INEC is talking about insecurity that may affect election, I guess that is the perspective the commission is talking from. But the good news again is that you see, you remember Anambra election. You remember all the insecurity, all the challenges, and all of that. And you see, we were all afraid. I know we discussed that issue here, and we thought, would this election hold and all of that?
I was in Anambra, I was on ground, and
it turned out to even be one of the most peaceful elections.
Turned out very.
It turned out well. Yeah, so though the turnout could be low, but at least there was no. We didn't really record cases of
40% or so.
40%? Where?
In Anambra.
No,
or 15.
But the problem with this is that you see, you keep people away from exercising their franchise, which is very bad. But I do not think that anybody will have any valid reason to say that this election should not hold. That won't be no.
It's constitutional.
We must hold this
even the electoral act.
So we cannot claim insecurity not to hold the election. Whatever should be done to curb the level of insecurity in places where we have these issues, I think we should. We still have about how many days to election?
47 days or so.
40-something days to election. 44. A lot can still be done security-wise, and I think we should rather concentrate on how to curb any form of insecurity in the key areas that are challenging than just thinking about election not holding.
Some people will say this is not the regular off-season election, that this is a general election. So we don't have the luxury of deploying 30,000 policemen to one state. That these people that are going to be going, police will go in collaboration with the military and some other security agencies, and together they might be stretched for 200 million people or 93 million people that will participate in that exercise.
Yeah, well, the IG has said that 10,000 newly recruited policemen will be added to the number on ground. And, we just hope that the government and security agencies and INEC will be able to work things out. Because even as the minister said, the elections.
Let me quickly take another Michael from Lagos. Thank you for staying with us, Michael.
Hello?
Yes, go ahead.
Hello? Okay, I'm Ayo. I greet everyone there, Mr. and Mrs. Deji.
Good evening.
I want to contribute and I also want to ask, is it, do we do wrong in being a Nigerian? Is there anything wrong for us to be a Nigerian? Because we have suffered so much in this country. For almost 7 years now, we have suffered so much. That is at times when people are talking about these bandits. I saw a man on the internet last week telling the people that they should go for, not destroy the bandits. And the way we still going around in this country, nobody is talking about that. Secondly,
Michael.
Well, that's what. What he's talking about is that just beyond fighting bandits, there are conflict entrepreneurs who are making capital out of the insecurity. Why isn't government dealing with such people? So even as the minister said, the elections will go ahead. He also now quickly added that INEC is working with security agencies to ensure that things. So if there is any reason at the end of the day for the election to be postponed, he has, in a very tactful way, pushed the ball back to INEC. That it has nothing to do with government. Remember President Goodluck Jonathan then, the morning of the election, where he was already on ground, and the election was postponed. So I think
that's to do with logistics.
Yeah, that is it. Now this is another type of logistics. Logistics to deal with insecurity. So I hope we can find a way around it. Because the Electoral Act says even if the elections are postponed, they must still be held.
So, and like it is sacrosanct.
It is sacrosanct. Elections must hold, and I think this election will also hold. I am confident that it's going to hold. I know that everything is being done to ensure that it holds, because it's in the interest of everyone that the election holds. So I don't see any reason why it is not going to hold. I guess, like I said earlier on, and talk about off-season election, this is even better. We won't need 300,000 policemen because everybody will be busy. All the politicians, they are the ones behind violence. They will be busy in their ward, local government. They want to also ensure that nothing goes wrong. So we won't need as many as 300,000 to be in one state for us to have a successful election. At least INEC chairman said that. Right. And I believe that we are good.
Okay, I want to thank you, Olabisi Deji Folutule and Emeka Madunago, for your contribution today. And that's our offering today. Join us for another episode of the program tomorrow, and you can watch the repeat broadcast of this episode tonight at 11 p.m. Join us this Sunday by 1:30 from 1:30 to 3:30 p.m. for Journalist Hangout on Sunday. We're on YouTube, youtube.com/TVC News Nigeria. I'm Ayodele Ozubakun. See you tomorrow.
Never miss a moment. Instant breaking news from all over.
Anything that puts a smile on your face. So it's whatever fun activity that you can get into, that you can get engrossed in. So it's different for everyone. For instance, I find